Brenda from Visa Latam. And please introduce yourself.
I'm Daniel from SpaceCoin.
Okay, can you tell us a bit more about SpaceCoin?
Sure, yeah. So with SpaceCoin, we're building satellites that are then launched into low Earth orbit to provide trusted setup execution, TEE, in space. And the reason it's cool is because it's in perfect physical isolation, which gives you very high security guarantees compared to any TEE in Earth.
Okay, and can you tell me a bit more about the main mission of SpaceCoin?
For sure, yeah. So SpaceCoin is very much in line with the original Cypherpunk vision, where we want to enable strong cryptographic tools and primitives for people, communities that can then retain their sovereignty. So the rationale for going out to space is so that we are able to then build tools that are for humanity in a kind of global context domain rather than having the being prone to whichever attacks if we have certain operators on Earth, as we've seen previously already, how certain tools have been persecuted and sometimes stopped. So like we want to essentially go to the space frontier and build tools for the future of humanity.
And do you already have some product in the space?
Yeah, so that's a good question. We have so far designed, built, and launched 3 satellites with our aerospace partner, Cryptoset. These satellites have been used for a few interesting proof of concept experiments. Most of those are non-standardized, so we're now starting to work towards standardizing the hardware so that we can create a protocol out of that and yeah, like make it into a accessible hardware for the public and for developers that want to leverage this security guarantee model.
And what is the most hard part to send satellites to space?
Yeah, so I don't know if there is one part, but originally I, for example, don't come from space science background, so there were a lot of things that I did not know. But in our team, we have people from different disciplines, cryptographers, space science guys, open source guys. I come from semiconductors. So you kind of have if you're building for space and for crypto, you kind of have multi layers of complexities, right? You need to have very strong domain knowledge, I would say. The barrier of entry to build things for this space is, you need to think about the mission launch, the hardware design, how to actually make it accessible to Earth users and then potentially to space native users. I don't know if I have some one data kind of point for what is the hardest, but I can just say that the complexity in almost every aspect of this is something that oftentimes like you find a rabbit hole that you end up, like even just to get the hardware to space, you need to do vibration testing. It's like you don't need to do a vibration testing for a node that you operate in a data center, right? So like it's just there's always new rabbit holes to find, yeah.
And how big is the SpaceCoin team? How many members do you have in your team?
That's a good question. So myself and my co-founders, Yang Wao and me, were the original team. We're now having quite a few open source contributors. It's not so much a kind of corporation that has a firm and headcount. There's more open source contributors, and we're intentionally building the project in that way so that we're not constrained on having the traditional work environment and culture. It's like more about meritocratic contribution. If people come from wherever in the world and we identify that they're good talent through the request for proposals, RFPs on our GitHub, we're then happy to allow them to contribute. It's not about so much the size of the team as much as the impact of every individual that contributes.
For sure. And are you planning to be a DAO in the future?
That's a good question for crypto in general. I think that DAOs are very interesting and I think are very important for community inclusion and in general to socialize the aspect of open source projects that are truly building for open participation. But I would argue that you don't want to start as a DAO. You actually want to start with very strong leadership that has foresight and vision, and gradually include different aspects of what the project entails as some form of a community participation slash DAO. But it's not some kind of let's do a DAO kumbaya for the sake of we're cool and stuff. That's a bit different purpose.
Okay, okay. And I would like to know what is the major goal that SpaceCoin have achieved till now, and what are the next objectives for the next months or for the next year?
Milestones, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess I would say that even just the ability to kind of from scratch design, build, and launch into space and actually have a production operated node up there that we can use for cryptographic application has been non-trivial. And I feel like we're grateful to have had the team and the partners that enable that. That's already we're past a big barrier of imagination. It sounds very much like a sci-fi initially, and now it's actually a reality. We've seen it through, and now I would say the milestones would be to start creating a robust protocol and network design that truly looks at taking this technology into like a standardized format that allows for more developers to integrate and for us to work with interesting projects that want to leverage this security. So exactly how this milestone look like, I would say the protocol specification and design is the current focus. We've released about 2 weeks ago the blue paper, which illustrates the initial vision for what SpaceCoin is, including quite a lot of technical details about the consensus. And now we're getting into actual specification and eventually software development and eventually deployment on hardware, and all that stuff will be a big milestone for us over a big series of milestones for us over the next coming months.
Awesome. How where we can read the blue paper?
Yeah, so blue paper is found on our website. If you go to spacecoin.xyz, there's a very long FAQ where you can find a lot of questions, including a link to the blue paper. Accessible to the public.
Okay, and you say that you already have 3
satellites.
So how for us, for a new as a user, is possible to check it?
To access the satellites?
Yes.
Not at the moment. At the moment, there isn't a publicly accessible permissionless satellite environment or anything like this. It's in the works, but initially we have a lot of warehousing and kind of focus on getting all the things standardized before we're having some simple APIs and things that people can test out. We will probably have a sandbox environment that is like a test net, if you wish.
Okay.
And that's part of what we're now also working towards with developers outreach. Yeah.
So it's one of the milestones for next year, the next 6 months, or
highly likely that it will be in the next few months. Yeah.
Okay, and if we talk about the roadmap, in which step of the roadmap you are? SpaceCoin.
Mm-hmm. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I think that the protocol specification and development is the current big flag for what is the next item on the roadmap. Just getting a protocol defined. What is SpaceCoin V1? If you wish, when Ethereum was defined, cool white paper, and then there was yellow paper afterwards. and then actually developing a client and being able to run it with bugs or no bugs, but having a client that is running. So for us, publish the blue paper, now working towards a technical specification white paper, software development, so that we can actually run the client and deploy.
And the name of SpaceCoin. So, do you have a coin? SpaceCoin have a coin?
Good question, yeah. There isn't a coin, SpaceCoin, at the moment, and
When I say coin, I'm talking about token.
I understand, yeah. I would suggest to stay tuned on our official website, spacecoin.xyz, not another address. As you know, in crypto, you need to verify that it's coming from a legitimate source. Currently, there is no further information I can share about it, but if there will be information, it will be shared on our website.
Okay, and the other question is, if you have to choose a blockchain where you build the product, or in this case the token, which one will be?
Yeah, so we're actually building a space blockchain on our own. So this is an independent blockchain, and it interfaces to terrestrial blockchains. Those terrestrial blockchains can be EVM world, and naturally this is an area to focus on because both this is where we grew up as crypto entrepreneurs, as well as this is where most of the activity is. But at the same time, if there is interest for other networks to be interfacing to it via bridges or other forms of networks that we will open up, there isn't some kind of overly specific access that we want to limit. Yeah, at the moment it's likely going to first be EVM, but potentially
EVM
more than
compatible.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And the last question is, do you have a kind of a new or an alpha or something to share to the community?
Like in life in general, or?
It could be in life in general, or could be for SpaceCoin.
Yeah, so I guess for SpaceCoin, again, best is to follow the website, the socials, rather than specifically me. In life, I think it's good to sleep and to drink water and to, yeah, like try to lead a healthy life and be connected to Earth with permaculture and stuff like that. That's my personal interest.
Okay, and let's go to this side, because SpaceCoin was part of the DeFi hub. So, what is your point of view of this side? Because you are a DeFi builder.
Yeah, that's a good question. So actually, I'm a scientist in my background. I used to research in bio nanotechnology, in semiconductors, in quantum computing hardware. So I'm very close to the kind of scientific world in general. And I think that having that overlap between the open source and community activated frontier developments is one area that I really like. And then bringing knowledge and scientific research as a domain in crypto is something quite cool. Where, yeah, I like in general that renewed interest for people to participate, not necessarily by having titles of academic researchers. Oftentimes, what you see in crypto that is really cool is that some people are even university dropouts that ended up providing so much frontier knowledge to different domains in economy, in distributed network, in space technology, and yeah, like the decentralized science aspect of how to fund it, how to facilitate maybe new peer review models, how to include community that wants to partake in it and otherwise don't have access to like a top tier academic institution. So yeah, I generally really like that domain, and I hope we'll see it growing and developing.
What do you think that this site needs to improve and to keep growing for the next year? Because I think we are very early right now as a design movement. What do you think?
Yeah, frankly, I don't know enough about, like, I'm noob in the DeSci world, I would say. Like, I have some scientific background, I have some understanding of crypto, but like I'm noob in that like DeSci world, so I don't know exactly like what would be the things to pursue there, but I believe that so long as enough people are excited and interested to push it forward, then we'll iterate and find ways to do it.
Awesome.
I'll open the door, or yeah.
Okay, so how I can find you in social media?
Yeah, so you can find the SpaceCoin_XYZ for SpaceCoin. For me, it's Semicondurian, just like semiconductor and Durian, Semicondurian. And yeah, that's easy on Twitter.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the space, for taking your time to give us an interview.
Thank you, Brenda, for having me.